tone, 23 hours, 0 minutes, Coordinated Universal Time. National Institute of Standards and Technology time. This is radio station WW from Collins, Colorado, broadcasting on internationally allocated standard carrier frequencies of 2.5, 5, 10, 15, and 20 gigahertz. On the standard time interval and other related information. Inquiries regarding these transmissions may be directed to the National Institute of Standards and Technology, radio station WWD, 2000 East County Road 58, Fort Collins, Colorado, 80524.
Hey everyone, welcome to this Google Hangout. I just synchronized the clock, so pretty close. And we've got 7 spectators right now, so it's a slow start, but we're gonna get there. So a few seconds, and we are going into full gear in this broadcast of our Saturday night shortwave hangout. So the time here on the clock is accurate. So if you have a difference, 30 seconds a minute, then it's the buffer from Google Hangout video on YouTube. We're going to start the evening, and welcome to the Hangout. If there's anything wrong, you can let me know. From what I see on the video screen here, I can see the just frequency, so it looks okay for that. 2 ways you can reach me and let me know you are watching. There's a questions and answer thing on the Google Hangout where you can actually send me a question, or you can email a question to officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com. So it's one big word, officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com. So we just jumped to 20 spectators. That's pretty good. So welcome to tonight's Google Hangout. And, well, I got, like last time, a few questions. Well, questions and also a little bit of news. One sad news. And a few nice little events here. And things that we're going to talk about. Questions that people just, ask me all the time. And I think a Hangout is a great time to actually answer those questions because it lets everyone know the answers. And shortwave, well, in every hobby in general, we have questions. Shortwave radio isn't that difficult, but it is something that requires a little bit of knowledge. So, and it's not always easy to know. So. You can say hi on the Google Plus page. You can say hi below the video on the channel itself. So if you're watching the video, you can leave a comment. And also officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com. So officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com. Glass of water. Got a little problem with the throat tonight. So the first item of we're going to start with the sad news. We're going to start with sad news. Sad news is Radio Exterior de España. Radio Exterior de España. If I go on 6055, they're in French right now. Great signal. At 0-100 hours, in an hour's time, they're going to be in English. wanna tune it tonight. Radio Exterior de España is leaving shortwave, and that is so unfortunate because I personally listen to the French language broadcast of Radio Exterior de España very often, at least once or twice a week, and I'm really sad that they're leaving shortwave. So from what I heard, October 1st is the date where they disappear from shortwave. Those of you that follow shortwave news, about 2 years ago, they did go off the air for about a week, and they came back, and they were supposed to end shortwave back then, and so finally what happened is they came back, and it was nice and it was cool. This time looks so much more official, so it's kind of sad. And you know what? You should listen to the broadcast tonight. And you know what? One thing that I'd like to ask is everyone that will watch this video, why not just write a little email? Let them know you're listening and that it's just so sad to see them go. And you know what? Sending letters and emails is powerful. I know of a lot of stations that actually changed their mind because of listener mail. An example here, the first time that we had Radio Canada International leave the airwaves, man, we sent so many letters, emails, and so on that they actually changed their mind. So I think we have to really write to them. Don't ask for a QSL. They don't have QSL cards. You can still send a reception report, though. I think it would be nice. Let them know that the signal's good. So French, 2,300 hours in North America. That's what usually I listen to because I understand French. But English, 0 to 0100 hours if you want to listen to their broadcasts. We're at 30 spectators now, going up slowly. Yes, Mr. Bullseye Fox. Hope you're feeling okay. Yeah, I had a kind of a virus, and actually like an infection. And what happened is I got some antibiotics and started immediately feeling much better. But had a few tests done, blood tests, urine sample and stuff like that. And everything's okay, and so it's probably been for a while because since last Christmas I haven't been like 100%, and I'm a guy that makes a lot of exercise, so I wasn't feeling 100%, So now I actually feel much better. So I have the impression that it's been hanging there for many months, but I didn't get sick before last week, where really I had fever and all of that. So yeah, things are superb, and no more antibiotics. Everything's okay, and feeling really fine now. So thanks for. Frequency for Spain is 6055. That's what I'm actually tuning right now on the radio here. So 6055 for Radio Exterior de España, and write them, and I hope at least you guys listen to Radio Exterior de España a little bit and let them know that you are listening, actually. So nice to see there's Anne that is also watching. Hello. Welcome to the shortwave hangout tonight. It's cool to know that you're watching. And Anne is a friend of mine that goes to a little karaoke bar that I go not far from here, and that's where basically we met the first time. And, she's a great person. It's always fun. Very tech. She's a tech girl. Much more tech than I am, basically. So it's really cool. We have Barry in Calgary, Alberta. Oh, nice to see another fellow Canadian, and hope that you are going to enjoy the hangout tonight. So we have our friend Bullseye Fox that is actually watching or listening to Radio Exterior España. They're in French now, but in 50 minutes they're going to be in English. Hope reception's good. Pretty good at this time of year, 6055, and it's a great frequency for winter. The problem would be summer. Summer was not a good choice. They don't always come in very well. So we've reached the 48 spectators right now, which is cool. Barry asks a question, and he says, what's the receiver that I'm using? Well, this is my main receiver. It's a ICOM ICR 8500. Had this radio for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, something like that. I don't even remember when I bought it. It's like 5 years maybe. We're in 2014. I'd say about 5 years. I'll have to check. It's about 5 years. And it's a nice receiver. I'd say on shortwave, it's a good performer. It's not the best. There are better receivers, but it's quite a good receiver. The reason I chose this one is because I wanted something that would make me listen to a very wide range of frequencies. So the ICOM is pretty much what I wanted. It goes up to 2,000 megahertz, so 2 gigahertz, and performs superbly on the bands. So the only drawback, I'd say shortwave is good. The only, I would say, 2 little drawbacks that I see from the shortwave performance of this radio. The AM filter is too large. It measures at 7.1 kilohertz, which is a little large when you're listening to stations that are jam-packed together every 5 kilohertz. So it would have been better, maybe something like 5.7 or 6 kilohertz. The other drawback is dynamic range is a little problematic on the radio. So when there's a very strong signal next to a very weak signal, I see the effects of the strong signal. You see that the electronics, they have a little difficulty coping with the strong signal. But it's still a good receiver. So if you have any more questions, don't hesitate. Barry in Calgary. Tonight, of course, we're going to tune the bands. If you guys hear any station, anything, why not let me know that you are tuning some signal somewhere, and we'll check that, and we'll see what we can hear together. For all of those that actually asked the question, because apparently I don't mention it enough, and yes, it is possible. You know what? The internet is something that is throughout the world, and you don't always think about the fact that when you're listening to shortwave in one part of the world, you're not going to hear the same thing if you're in Europe or in Asia. So I am located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. That is northeast part of North America. I am in the time zone of the east coast of North America, of the United States. Same time zone as New York. But you know, on shortwave, a few hundred kilometers is enough to have a big difference in reception sometimes. I'm going to tune a little bit the bands here, especially in search of pirates. Let's see if there's some pirate activity tonight in the pirate bands. Nothing much here for now, but it's early, you know, 7 p.m. is kind of early for pirates. 8, 9 p.m. or like 0, 100 is going to be probably the best. We'll go back to Spain. That is in French right now. So Radio Exterior de España leaving on October 1st. I sent an email, and I hope everybody else sends mail to let them know that you are listening. I think it would be great. And Bullseye, if you hear what sounds like, it's like a foreign language right now, maybe for you, it's a French, they are in French. So 6055 should be Spain. By the way, what receiver are you using, my friend Bullseye Fox? Let me know what receiver and where you are located also. Please let me know where you are, as I don't know where most of the people are. We are at 58 spectators, so going well for a Saturday evening hangout. Welcome, everyone. So, Radio Exterior de España leaving. Please send them a message, an email, something to let them know. I think it would be very, very important to let them know that you're listening. That's the major problem of shortwave broadcasts. They don't know if you don't write. So, lots of little things I jot down questions and stuff that I hear. We're going to talk about pirates tonight because it seems to be a subject that a lot of you like and want to know more of. So that's cool. Don't forget, if you want to join, there's a spot on the Google Hangout where you can actually post. There's a questions and answer tab, and you can post there and write and let me know you're listening if you see it. Or else you can send me an email at officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com. officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com. You can also post a comment in the channel, the YouTube channel, or below the video. All of that I'm monitoring with my computer, so if anyone's there. We've got another email here, and the email comes from our friend Christopher. Christopher is in a small town southwest of London, England. So hi, Christopher. It's late night there. It's like midnight in England. Hope you're going to stay a little bit with us. And lots to talk about your corner of the world this week with the Scottish referendum. And Spotlight was really in your area of the world. I did follow a lot, by the way, the BBC World Service on shortwave and also on my internet radio that I have here. Listen to the BBC, have the all the news and the features of talking about the Scottish referendum and everything. Was quite interesting and nice coverage. The BBC is just so fantastic. Of all the news services in the world, BBC is the tops of the tops. That's for sure. And even though they did lower their budget, it's still, the BBC is still great. And you know what? I miss so much the time when the BBC was broadcasting to every part of the world, and they were easy to listen to. Now you got to listen to the BBC from their transmitters broadcasting to Africa or Europe. And so in North America, it's kind of difficult to get a BBC at times. I listen to the half-hour Africa service French at 1800 hours UTC. They're on the 19-meter band. I often tune one frequency that comes in well in the afternoons from the BBC here is 15400 from Ascension Island's transmitter site. That comes quite well in the afternoons. but unfortunately, my best BBC frequency actually, there's a station called WVPR that is in Burlington, Vermont. It's on 107.9 FM, and at 9 a.m. local time, they broadcast News Hour that I really enjoy because it's like a 1 hour roundup of what's happening in the world. And I'd rather listen to that than listen to stuck traffic in the streets of Montreal and stuff like that I just don't care about. I think that's fun. But the Burlington, Vermont VPR station comes in very well here, even with a little portable receiver. So in the morning, I'll tune 107.9 FM and listen to the BBC News Hour. That's pretty much most of my listening of the BBC. But if I can in the afternoons, if I'm here, I don't work, I'll be checking that out. If you have any questions, Christopher, don't hesitate. Any questions you might have, guys, please, I'll be really happy to answer any questions you might have. So we are at 62 spectators, which is quite nice, actually. Very, very interesting to see that we are. I don't know if we're going to beat my record tonight. Record is, I believe, was 72 reached in the last hangout. Quick talk about the hangout of that was supposed to happen last week. I had scheduled a hangout for, I wrote it here on my calendar, for the Thursday, the 11th of October. And what happened is I wasn't there because I was at the doctor's office. A lot of people said, hey, where's the hangout? A lot of people showed up for that hangout, and they said, what's happening? No hangout. Well, I was at the doctor's office because I wasn't feeling well, so sorry for that. And you know what? It's just so complicated to get to see a doctor here that when you want to see a doctor, you just hurry on up and get one. We'll tune some of my favorite stations tonight, actually. What I'm listening to as the night goes on, and we're going to compare reception also. And we'll tune around the bands, we'll see how reception is throughout the time. And in between the questions and the check-ins from everyone, we'll go around. And basically, I'm going to tune the 15 megahertz band, and this is going to be a live tuning the bands with comments. I was thinking that I'll do a few tonight live on the Hangout. I think maybe you guys are going to find fun. And you know what? Since it's live, if you're in North America, why not get out, get your radio and follow the tuning and check out if you can hear the signals that I hear. I think that's going to be really, really nice. So let's do a tuning of the 19-meter band and with comments. I'm not going to use my usual list, but I'll use one that's pretty good from the eibi.de.vu website, and it's pretty accurate. And so WWV from Colorado, time signal coming in quite well. By the way, the clock is precise, so if you're wondering if that clock is exactly the UTC time, it's really on the dot. I fixed it. It has this, quirk that every 3 or 4 days it's already 2-3 seconds late. So let's tune the bands and see what we can hear. Put a little activator here. So it's something on 15100. Which is China Radio International, China Radio International from Philippines Relay. So this is from the Philippines. So if you guys hear anything, that's why 6055 is probably not a good thing. Bullseye is mentioning that he's in Australia and using a Sangean ATS 505. Yep, in Australia, I believe that reception is really not what you're going to get on my radio. So, but still tune. Why not tune the 19-meter band? Some of the signals that I'm getting here are transmitted for Asia, and I believe Asian signals are probably making it to Australia. So maybe you can tune and have some of those signals much stronger. But you know, of course, from Australia, that's really going to be something different. You know, we're opposites here at 7 p.m., which is early evening in Montreal. So you guys are probably morning over there. So welcome from Australia. It's nice to see you. So let's continue our tuning here. 5160. What a good signal here. What's that? Radio Exterior de España for Latin America. By the way, one thing I'm not sure is Radio Exterior de España is going to leave shortwave, but is it going to leave everything, or are they going to keep some Spanish? They have quite an extensive schedule throughout the day. You hear Radio Exterior de España in Spanish pretty much in a lot of frequencies, and even in the night. So, this is Radio Havana, Cuba. 15 to 30 is pretty much, it's not a 24-hour, but it's a very long broadcast. See here, it's, it says they go from 1100 to 1500, then 2200 to 0400. So it's a pretty, they use that frequency a lot in the daytime. Slightly off frequency. This is RAE, Argentina, with quite a good signal tonight, actually. In the weekends, they tend to have like this frequency going late at night. So this is Argentina that you are getting here. So hey, Doug from USA, New Jersey. Welcome to the Hangout. Picking up. So it's nice to it's nice to hear you. Sorry I didn't go through the list, so I didn't see if you were there. Doug from USA, New Jersey. We have also Andrew picking up 6055 España here in the UK. Hi Andrew, welcome to the Google Hangouts. Nice to see that you are watching. Really cool. Thanks for being there. We are at 70 people watching now, which is quite nice actually. So it's pretty cool. Nice to see you guys. Welcome to the Hangout. If you have any questions, Ethan Best, how are you? I'm pretty good. Saturday evening, and we're going to have fun with the radios tonight, and hopefully we'll have, have fun. Get your radio out. I want all of you guys to have your radio on, tune the bands, see what you can hear. So we're going to continue a little bit on the tuning the 19-meter band, and just check out. So Argentina in Spanish, making it quite well into Montreal tonight. Why I'm tuning point 2? People sometimes ask me that question because they're off frequency. If I put it upper sideband, you notice if when I'm on the exact frequency, there's a tone. That means they're off. And Argentina is off pretty much all the time. So you tune until the upper sideband gives you clear audio, and you know that's pretty much the frequency they're using. So they're off a little bit, 200 hertz. 15355. This is the Sultanate of Oman, apparently, in Arabic. They seem to have some English on this frequency at 0300 UTC, 03 to 04 in English. I've actually never heard that broadcast, so that would be something to try out tonight and keep note of. 0300 to 04. If you guys hear Sultanate of Oman right now, I'll try it out for English later on tonight. Hi, Eaton. Just mentioning that it's coming in quite well into Indiana. And yes, they are making quite a good signal. Actually, they are very strong. I don't even remember having them as strong as that at this time of the night here. Propagation seems to be incredibly good tonight. So I think it's a great night for radio listening. Radio Havana, Cuba, once again. This is probably Radio Australia. Our friend Bullseye Fox should try it out. 15415, which is Radio Australia in English. It's barely making it here. A little early for Australia. Australia comes in here better a little later in the evening, around 0200, 0300. Something wait on 480. Possible Radio Cairo from Egypt. Hey, Paul Andrews, no problem. And hi, welcome to the Hangout. It's cool to see people from the UK. Hey, Mr. Raptor 22 Stealth. Hey, how are you? And from Barcelona in Spain. And says he's where I was before in the kitchen. He set up an extension and uses to his CR1 receiver that he likes a lot, I remember. So hey, welcome to the Hangout. It's nice to see that Europe is there, even though it's a little late. And Bullseye Fox saying, yep, he's receiving Australia on 15415. So I thought that would be one that you could get. It's weak here in Montreal, but it was there. If you listen here, just barely. Radio Australia barely making it. Barely making it here. So on 15570.
另外，太阳片这类通报的公务电视专项检查情况里，还涉及到县民验局、县法院、县法办等等。有的单位是因为缺少公函，缺乏视频。
This is Radio Free Asia. broadcasting.
而现人方法是用电话记录载体公函，列明水线公司中心电话费用分别超过210。
Not actually sure where MRA. I don't know where that is. I'd have to check the list of abbreviations. Radio Free Asia. That I should actually QSL. It's one of the stations I have in QSL. I had a first this week also. I heard HCJB Australia. I think it was the first time I heard HCJB Australia.
From your perspective, what was the key for social media here?
This is U.S. station, WEWN, I believe. Catholic religious programs. WRMI from Okeechobee, Florida, seems to have basically used this frequency all day now, with religious programs all day long. Brother Stare, WRMI, Radio Miami International. So that's pretty much what we're hearing on this frequency right now. And so that's pretty much the tuning of the 19-meter band right now. Great propagation tonight. I think it's going to be a great night for radio listening. Hey Joe from Chicago, hanging out. I like that. We can hang out. We're hanging out together. It's pretty cool. It's like a night, you know, a guy's night out with the radios. All it's missing is, you know, beer and maybe a little atmosphere.
Coordinated universal time.
Yep, no problem. I'll mention the frequencies every time in case you can't really read the frequency display here. I see it on the video, but it's probably a little, it could be a little small to watch. I'd have to make it bigger, actually. So no problem. I'll always mention the frequencies of what I'm tuning. So it's pretty cool to see everyone online. Okay, so this is our first tuning. We did the 19-meter band, and I'm going to talk a little more about some shortwave stuff, and we'll go back to tuning other bands in a few minutes. One of the questions I get asked often is, what is this clock? And you know what? This is the cheapest clock you can get. Bought it on Deal Extreme for like $5 or $6. I don't remember exactly. And you know what? I went to a local drugstore here. You guys in the United States have something called like Shoppers Drug Mart or something like that. It's pretty much the equivalent here in Canada. It's called Jean Coutu, and or in Quebec. And actually, they have the same clock. I saw it for $6.99. So you know, $5, $6, $7, you can get the same clock. What's nice about this is that, first of all, it's small. It's on the package. It says travel clock, basically. And what's really cool is the display is big, so you really see it well, and has date, time, as an alarm clock, and also temperature on it. So a clock is a must in any radio room for shortwave listening, especially because what happens with the clock is that you need a clock that displays UTC time. A lot of people that are new to shortwave don't understand what's UTC, and UTC is very important because if everybody would use its own time, we'd be totally lost as to what time it is and when to listen to a broadcast. That's why we're using universal time, which is always the same, never changes. When we put our clocks ahead or behind, depending on winter, or you know, our reference to UTC changes, but UTC always stays the same. It never changes. So if you have a clock to UTC, even if you change time in winter, summertime, it doesn't matter. Just look at your clock. It will never change and will always display a proper UTC. And I think having a UTC clock is very important because of what shortwave radio is. And if you want to listen to broadcasts, every list of stations are in UTC, basically. So, we're gonna check any Korean KBS tonight. Well, Anne is asking me if there's any Korean KBS tonight. There isn't. I know they are on 15575 in the evening, but it ain't really making it well to North America. The best time for Korean KBS, because Anne speaks and is a big fan of Korean culture and foods, and the best time for Korean KBS is actually in the morning. Here they have English 14 to 1500 UT. That's 9 to sorry, they have English from 13 to 14 UT, from 9 to 10 a.m. local time Montreal. But they have Korean for 1 hour. That comes in quite well in the morning on 15575. But in the evening, now I'm going to check. If I can find something, we're going to try it. But I'm not sure that tonight's going to be really a good night for any Korean KBS World Radio. Unfortunately. So thanks for the question. And we have Joe, WA9LAE. Nice to see an AM radio operator. Says that he's listening to 6055 on his receiver, the FRG 100, and an ALA 100M loop antenna. And he's located in a suburb of Chicago named Oak Park. Enjoying your commentary. It's cool. Thanks for the great comment. You know, one of the reasons why I'm making this is because I want to share with everyone my hobby. We are 78 spectators, so we are at a new record for me. 78 spectators watching right now. Nice to see that you're listening, and got any questions through the night. And tune around the bands, you know, Chicago, you should hear pretty much what I'm hearing. Most of what I'll be listening to should pretty much make it to the suburb of Chicago. Okay, we're gonna talk a little bit about pirates. Like I said, we would. First of all, one of the questions that comes very, very often about pirates is schedules. Is there a list of pirate broadcasts? No, there ain't any list of pirate broadcasts really. There are forums. There are some really nice forums where you can see what people are actually listening to. The reason why there ain't any lists is because pirates are illegal, and the problem with that is because they are illegal, they don't want to get caught, and if they don't want to get caught, they can't really issue any schedules because it's too dangerous. So there's no real schedule. What you usually do is mostly tune here in North America. Anywhere from 6850. Okay, that's where I'd go. And upper sideband, I tune a 6850 up to 7000. pretty quiet for now. This is pretty much where you'll hear pirates if there are pirates. There aren't specific times. Of course, evenings are the best. Weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, are probably the most active periods. But even in the weekdays, you'll hear. Yes, Ethan, that's what I was trying to remember. HF Underground is where you need to go for pirates. I was thinking, what's the name of that that spot with all the great posts and forums on pirate. And so HF Underground, go to HF Underground and it's a great spot where you'll hear or you'll watch in real time what people are hearing. So if you are wondering some pirates, or it's cool because I use HF Underground a lot, because what is interesting is if you hear a pirate, pirates sometimes don't ID much, or when they ID, it's not always easy to understand what they're saying. So by going to HF Underground, you'll see posts of people hearing the same pirate that you are, and actually you'll have an idea what station you're listening to. Yes, Mr. Raptor 22 Stealth saying bad news from Radio Exterior España. They will shut down all shortwave services October 1st. Email Thomas of the Shortwave Listening Post, and he posted quite a lot of information on the blog. Time to listen now that they're still on the air. So David, yep, Mr. David, like he's saying, it's time to listen to Radio Exterior de España. They are leaving shortwave for October 1st, so we have only, you know, a little more than a week left, actually. October 1st is coming in very fast. It's very unfortunate, actually. So thanks for clearing a little more on giving us a little more news on what's happening with Radio Exterior de España. Remember, in 13 minutes time, they're going to be in English on 6055. It's a great frequency for North America. They are in French right now. Still write them. You know what? Even when people say it's over, don't say it's over. You know, I hope everyone writes and lets them know they are, you know, that you like their programs. The power of having listener mail is bigger than we think. And unfortunately, unless a station is doomed, a lot of us don't write. And they don't know if we're there if they don't write. So, Joe, yes, is that a Radio Shack DSP-40? I see. Indeed, this is a Radio Shack DSP-40. Been using it for, I'd say, close to 20 years. I don't know when this thing came out. I don't remember when they actually sold it, but it's probably close to 20 years about this. At least 15, that's for sure. And bought it on sale because the full price was a little too much. You know, it's not the best DSP you can have because it's kind of a cheap DSP, but it has a killer notch that I love, and it has a great audio amp to drive speakers even from portable. That I also like. And the narrow CW filter is just great for CW listening, even though it's in the audio, actually. So, pretty cool. So, yep, DSP-40 is Mr. David saying that 15770 WRMI is S9. And you give it a simple 35344 or so. Whereas broadcast stations used to make their way into my QTH pretty well. Cool. So we have posts of 6055 coming in well. Ship Underground is great. What else? Sorry, I'm just going through the posts here and looking at what people are posting up. Yeah, unfortunately, you're right, Ethan. With Radio Cuba boosting its signal on 6060, it does interfere with Radio Exterior de España. You know what? I like the fact that there's a shortwave service out of Cuba, but I am really getting annoyed at Radio Cuba for, I would say, what I call not respecting the rules. They made me really mad when they just started broadcasting on 11670 over All India Radio's English language program that comes in quite well here on the frequency. I was mad, and you know what? I hate the fact that they don't want to play by the rules, and they don't want to go to the HFCC and, you know, give out the frequencies they'll use and let everybody know so that, you know, everybody stays on its frequency. I mean, with all the stations that are gone now, come on, there's just so much space on the bands that you can go on a frequency that won't interfere with anyone. And Cuba makes me mad for that. Radio Cuba is annoying for that, and that's really, really, really annoying. Hey Gene from New York City, welcome to the Hangout. Really cool to see everybody from pretty much everywhere around the world. It's a nice Saturday evening, and it's really, really cool to have all of you people what else? I'm sorry if I take time sometimes to say hi. Hey, Mr. 1990 Sunbird. Hello, and please let me know where you are located. That's always fun to know. Always fun to know. So, like I said, we're going to talk about pirates. Pirates are on non-official schedules, and it is a little, you know, they're a little more difficult than usual broadcasts to listen to, but they're often quite fun to listen to. And I'll be tuning many times tonight in case we hear one of those pirates broadcasting. Chances are high that we'll hear one at some point. HF Underground, if you guys want to have news of what's on the air in pirates. If you're in Europe, by the way, North America, 6850 to 7000, but if you're in Europe, remember, 6200 to 6400, pretty much in there. That's where Euro pirates are. If you have a really low noise environment, why not try, if you're in North America, why not try for a Euro pirate? You never know. And of course, in Europe, you can try for a North American pirate. That could be good. We have, let me just see here. Andrew 15615 coming in, but weak here in the UK. Yeah, well, it's a US station, 610. 610, it's a US station. It's actually not very far from here. I believe this station broadcasts like from only a few hundred miles from where I'm located, actually. I just saw something with a
when it comes to...
Yep, Paul Andrews saying that it's picking up 6055 Spain very well in his DGen DE1103. I love the DGen DE1103. I posted videos actually yesterday while I was on my little D expedition at Perry Island, where I go and do some radio listening, and it's an amazing little receiver. The D1103 is a great receiver for the price. It's one of the great radios out there. One of the great radios out there. Just gonna do a little cleanup here because I'm gonna get lost. There we go.
We are presenting your flights outside.
There we go. Just gonna make a little space for more. I'm gonna get these questions out of the way a little more. Anyone wants to try something a little more difficult, by the way? Radio Thailand is coming up in a few minutes, 15590. So why not try it in North America? Good reception pretty much all week this week of Thailand. So I'm expecting something that should come in quite well. We are at 76 spectators, so that's pretty good. Nice to see all the people out there, and nice to see all of you. And please share your listening. If you're listening to something unusual, something that you want to share with us, come on, we're going to try and tune it even here on the radio.
Please inform yourself and pray for our Christian brothers and sisters in the Middle East at this critical time. Thank you.
It's fun to have all of you out there, friends from all over the world. Thanks for being here. Without you, there would be no hangout. I just can't, stress that enough. So I'm doing a little bit of cleanup here in the questions. There we go. Won't be very long. So I'm going to tune 15590. In a few seconds, there should be a signal showing up here. So why not tune it and see what you guys can hear. And here we go. We have that little area that just popped up, 15590. And pretty nice. That means that we're going to have a Radio Thailand in North America. Why don't you guys, even in Europe and Australia, tune in and see if you can hear Thailand, making it to an S7 here right now. 15590. They have a 1 hour English. 30 minutes is to East Coast North America, and the last 30 minutes is West Coast of North America. Paul Andrews says it's not too late, and he's got a few beers. I'd like to have a beer, actually. That's something that I would like to have right now. Unfortunately, we cannot share beer over Hangout. But someday, you know what, the technology is going to be there. I'm going to have beer over Hangouts, I'm sure. So cheers, mate, and enjoy that beer. It's really cool. So in a few seconds, we should hear Thailand with its startup programming. Anyone else hearing Radio Thailand right now? What type of antenna connector does the ICOM have in the back? Yep, it has 3 antenna connectors. One is an RCA type jack for a long wire. It's what we call an IZ connector. Has a very high impedance. It is made for long wire antennas. That's where my long wire is plugged in. It has an SO239 plug for coaxial. It also has an N connector for the VHF UHF part. So this is the start of Radio Thailand programs. Anyone else hearing Radio Thailand? Bullseye in Australia saying that he's there's something very weak, very faint, very faint. Yes, Ethan, I do decode refax from time to time. I enjoy doing that from time to time.
Brought to you by Time, smooth as silk. So we go. Today is Sunday, September the 21st, 2014, and this is Radio Thailand's Morning News Hour with Mark Sawat. Investigators update case into environmental supervision tourists. The Prime Minister of the Southwest Financial Aid source client firms this year.
Global News talks to treat violence and housing and recent income.
The G20 countries to back early city global to support this plan.
Because it's here quite a good signal here. Ethan Best saying that it's very weak. So, I should actually try it on a portable. I'm gonna. This is the Degen DE1103, the famous Degen that I actually used this week. I'm gonna try it just with the telescopic antenna and see if we can hear something. There's something faint, but you know, with a telescopic antenna, it's not enough, and I have a lot of noise here, especially with the computers and everything. Maybe if I, yeah, it's there barely, but it's just too noisy probably in the shack for that. But with the outdoor antenna, it's really good. Oh, Andrews, nothing. Nothing on 15,590, not surprised though. It seems that I'm one of the lucky ones who can hear the English language Thailand on the airway now.
It has reaffirmed the Thai government's commitment to proceed with its investigation with utmost urgency.
So, like I said, Paul, 3 connectors for the antenna. There's a RCA type connector. That's where I have my long wire. There's a SO239, I believe it's called, for a big coax. That's also for HF, 0 to 30 megahertz. And there's an N connector, and that's for a coaxial cable for the VHF, UHF reception. So 3 types of antenna. There's 2 antennas plugged in here. I have the VHF, UHF antenna. So if I want to tune, let's say, this is NOAA weather in Burlington, Vermont. So I can tune VHF or UHF signals if I want. And I've got my long wire, about 35, 40 feet long wire outdoors, plugged in also. It requires a minimum of 2 antennas. So, we have Joe saying, picking up some weak voice, but I have extreme RFI near here, Chicago. You'll have much better reception. My RFI is S9, yeah. You know, if I go, no attenuator, if I go where there's no signal, my noise level in the 19-meter band is at S4, which is manageable. At least I'm good on that frequency range. But in lower frequencies, it's murder. You know, like if I tune 3 megahertz, this is 3 megahertz. I'm at S7 right now. 5.5 megahertz. I got 5 megahertz, 5.5 megahertz. I'm at S9 solid noise. That's horrible. I'm going to try Pirates. Let's try Pirates, never know. Oh. Northwoods Radio. There's 2 Pirates right now. 6950, which is a little weak to make out. And there was what looked like Northwoods Radio 6925 that was here for a few seconds. I remember that call. So, maybe preparing the evening for some kind of this sounds like radio free whatever. I wouldn't be surprised it's radio free whatever 6950. So yeah, Bullseye, I got the propagation. Maybe I got the antenna also. I don't know, but I always think of my spot as a little high noise. But it seems that a lot of you out there, you know, I often get those comments saying, you know what, you got great reception that I don't have, and I'm always saying that I don't have great reception, so maybe I'm the one that's not in reality or something. Oh, Andrews, you bought a Degen DE13. Yes, it is a cool little radio. That thing is amazing. It's I'm trying to see if it's close to me. I see it every day, and for some reason I don't know where it is right now. But it is a miracle little radio. You are right. Oh, here it is. Here it is. I believe this is it. No, get mixed up. There's just so many of those radios. Here it is. This is the DE13, which is a solar and hand crank receiver. It is an amazing performer for the price. And a great radio if you go camping or, you know, go in the woods or have a little spot where there's no electricity. This is a cool radio to own, and it's actually very, very sensitive and amazing for the price. I'm glad that you bought one. I think this is a great, great little radio. You're going to enjoy it. That's for sure. It is a nice radio. So, if I elaborate a little more about the WeFax, because I think that's a nice little subject here. Ethan Best, which is saying that do I decode WeFax? WeFax is WeatherFax. WeatherFax is basically sending weather charts through the HF spectrum. And actually, I'm going to take note of this. And what would be fun, maybe in the next hangout that's going to be next Sunday, maybe do some live decoding of digital signals would be interesting, so that you guys would see how it works. I think that would be cool. I think a lot of you would like that. And we will decode WeFax, which is weather fax signals. Anybody listening to or receiving 6950, which is a pirate? I'm going to go if there's anything else here. Doesn't seem like. It's barely in noise on my side, so kind of difficult. But yep, that's going to be a topic next Hangout. We're going to do some live decoding of digital signals. I think that's going to be cool. And you guys are going to be able to learn the difference between different signals we hear and so on. I think this is going to be cool. Oh, Mr. 1990 Sunbird in Ontario, Canada. And I'm located in Montreal, Canada. So if you're wondering, Montreal, Canada. Not very far. We are neighbors, if you want, in the world. 78 spectators right now, which is pretty cool. And we're continuing our Google Hangout. We're now a little more than 1 hour into the Hangout, actually. And so there's a pirate, 6950. Any of you guys listening to this pirate? I'd like to know. It's an upper sideband, 6950 kilohertz. If you want to write, official shortwave radio at gmail.com is the spot where you can write direct in email, or you can, of course, try to join us through the YouTube channel or the Google Plus page. Bullseye's decoded some slow scan TV. That is fun. You know what? Of all the modes, digital modes, I love slow scan TV. It's just so much fun receiving all these pictures from AM radio operators. It's really, really nice. Really cool. Ethan Best says that it's in it and the noise. It's a little bit like me. In it and the noise. Unfortunately, we have some music right now, and but a little bit of pirate activity. For those that would like to know what I would listen to right now if I wanted to listen to programs, well, you got the choice. There's Romania 9700, China 9570. Since I'm French speaker, I usually listen to China 9570. This is from Albania transmitter site, so you guys should hear it quite well. And yeah, you can says that definitely sounds better in my Yaesu than on my Texan PL880. High-end receivers tend to have a little edge, you know, that little something that makes it quite good. You see, these are easy to hear. If you're in North America, have just a small portable. For example, China. There we go. This is China radio. You're hearing the sound from my Dijon right now. There's also Romania 9700 to try it out. And even with all the noise in the shack, I'm still hearing it quite well. So these are great frequencies in North America, Romania, China. Romania is direct from Romanian transmitter site. And of course, you've got, for only a little more than a week, Spain. But here's the problem that we were talking earlier. We have interference from Cuba, 6060. It's just too close to Spain. So if you have a receiver that ain't that good in separating the signals, you get this interference actually. One trick, by the way, if you have a receiver, you can try tuning it in lower sideband. Since the station's up, I tune it in lower sideband. And by tuning lower sideband, since the receiver listens from the frequency down, it eliminates the Cuban signal that's up, and also the narrower filters of sideband makes it easier to listen to also. You do lose a little bit of fidelity in the audio, but at least it can make a difference not receiving or receiving a station actually. So that's a little a trick that I use. $1990 Sunbird says he has something on 7.495.
That are still real quick. You know, especially state parks. State parks, which is
yeah.
And a lot of these highways were built because of that. Yep.
7490.
Still maintained, yeah. So it was good. It was necessary stuff to do at the period, even though the pendulum swings, ladies and gentlemen. Perhaps it has swung too much the other way because there's just too much government now. And
7490 is WBCQ, I believe. I'm just going to check it here. Yep. WBCQ, the planet. With very very programming, if you want. They do have 5110 also. 5110. It's also WBCQ. These are very close. WBCQ is in Maine and is basically in the shortwave standard of what's close. That is very close to my location. 5110 always comes in very well. And so 7490, 5110, WBCQ. I like 5110. I often listen to 5110. They often have very unusual programming, you know, fun sketches and all sorts of interesting programming. And actually, there's one thing that I'm thinking. I heard an ad on WBCQ stating that they charge something like $35 an hour for programming on air. And it actually gave me an idea that it might be interesting to maybe buy an hour a week and do some kind of program that I would have every week on WBCQ. That would be cool. You know, having my own shortwave broadcast, that would be really nice, actually. It's something I'm thinking about. And, you know, but I want to have some kind of original idea of a program and not do something that is going to, you know, be kind of the same of what another, you know, broadcaster actually does. You know, I don't want to do a shortwave news thing because I think that area is mostly, we already have someone that's using that in Glenn Hauser's Roller Radio, which is extremely good in its program. I love Glenn Hauser's Roller Radio. He does have his own point of views of some stuff, and that's okay. But I actually like Glenn Hauser's Roller Radio. I think it's a very informative program, very professional. And I don't want to do something like that. I don't want to be in that same spot. Thinking more of maybe some other type of programming, but I think it could be cool. You know, I could be on the air, on the radio. It would be like a, you know, different than a Google Hangout. Maybe something that goes together. Do the live radio show and maybe do a Hangout showing the live radio show or something like that. And that would be cool. Andrew, I've never decoded DRM. And that is something that I should actually do, especially with the SDR. I understand that it's quite easy to do. A friend of mine that I do radio, we talk radio often, actually does decode DRM. One thing about DRM is I don't like the fact that it's in the international broadcast bands, because I think it takes too large of a spectrum and it interferes with regular broadcasts. They really should have made their own little band where DRM is. Ethan Best, Pirate on 6935. Oh, let's go and check that out on 6935. Yep. Yeah, Bullseye. That is true. I think it would be cool. You know what? I love shortwave, and I love the idea of thinking that I had my own program on shortwave. I think that would be cool, and I think that would be fun, actually. And you know, I'm surprised at how inexpensive the air time is on those stations. So I think that would be cool. And yep, maybe something like now, or something where you know, a questions and answer type stuff. Glenn Hauser as his news. Maybe I could have some kind of weekly 1-hour questions and answers of shortwave radio. I think that would be nice because there's nobody that actually does that. I don't know what you guys think. How about that? A 1 hour a week show on WBCQ or any broadcaster that will release airtime, and I'd have questions and answers of shortwave radio. That is interesting. And could talk about maybe new receivers and stuff like that. A little more technical and not really news of shortwave, unless there's like, for example, now Radio Exterior de España that's disappearing from the airwaves. But Paul Andrews, Radio Romania coming in clear. Mr. Hutchison from the UK, enjoying the hangout. Is it a regular Saturday night thing? No, it is. The schedule changes all the time. Why? One of the reasons is I don't want to take the Saturday night evening all the time for this, because I know someone that will get mad if I actually do that. Once in a while it goes okay, but if I do that every week, I know I'm going to have someone that's going to be real mad at me. So I'm going into a schedule that I'll post on my channel. By the way, if anyone wants to watch the next hangout, remember it's going to be next Sunday, September 28th. I wrote it here on the little calendar. September 28th is the next scheduled hangout. It's going to be at 2100 UTC. So write that down if you guys want to be here for the next hangout. Okay, it's September 28th on a Sunday, and it's going to be at 2100 hours UTC. So that's the next hangout if you want to watch it. And I'll probably be giving out, at each hangout, I'll give out the next hangout date. I think that's the way it would be nice. And I'll try to keep the hangout for, at least once a week. But it's going to be really, really a rock and roll schedule. It can be in a weekday, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. It's going to be a mix match of times for a hangout. And one of the reasons also why I want to make it such a thing for different areas of the world. So by having it at different times, it's going to be at different, good for different areas of the world. So thanks for being here, and it's nice to see that you are watching the Hangout. We are at 81 spectators. That's a record for me right now. You know, it's improving all the time. I think it's a great, great thing. I do get a lot of great feedback from everyone. So, you know, I want to continue listening. Joe says that 6055 coming in well. And 9570, 20 over 9, very strong. 7490 WBCQ is very weak. 5110 is non-existent. That's interesting to see the different propagation conditions. There's a pattern at 6935. It's a little weak here. And there's also another one at 6950 still there. That's also very weak for me. So, Ethan, yeah, if the SSB on the PL880 resembles the SSB on the PL600 a little bit, it's not the best of the receiver. Actually, I don't have, I can't say that I have a portable that single sideband is really good on it. Maybe my Grundig G5, yeah, it's not bad. But I think because of the AGC on these little portable receivers, SSB is kind of always a little harsh. So it's not as good as listening to a single sideband on a receiver like this one, which really, really makes it almost as enjoyable as listening to an AM broadcast. If you want to write an email, officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com. officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com. Paul says 9570 loud and clear southwest of Toronto with his ETHOM E5 long wire antenna. Cool. And that's 9570 is usually a great reception. This is from Albania, by the way. If you're wondering where the transmitter is, they use the Radio Tirana Albania transmitters for this. Can I pick up 7146 AM? I don't have anything on 7146 bullseye, and since you're in Australia, I don't think that this will make it to North America, by the way. Radio Romania peaking at S9 plus 30 on 9700.
In the last room, we have the replica.
They're quite good. They're not as strong as they were the past few weeks, maybe because of the shorter days now. They are also on 11955. Yeah, 11955 is also another Romanian frequency.
Village named after a hero.
Hey Andrew, no problem. You know, I understand these hangouts are long, so you know, it's quite okay. Thanks for being here. Hope to see you maybe in the next hangout, September 28th at 2100 hours UTC. It's gonna be nice to see. And thanks for being here, Andrew, and hope to see you again. So take care. What do we have here? I checked the email. I haven't checked the email in a little while, so make sure that I'm not missing out on anyone here. So on the email, what do we have on the email? We are looking at we have here? We have Aaron watching the hangout from San Francisco, California. Nice to see you. Says that it's very informative, very interesting. He does not own any shortwave radios. He did listen to shortwave back in the 70s and 80s, and didn't think that it was still alive and well. Anything new about shortwave today that compared to the early 70s or 80s? And what radio should I think of buying if I would like to go back into the hobby and spend around $100? Okay, two questions here. The first question is about the difference of the shortwave bands. Big difference. The first thing that you'll notice is that there's a lot less stations on the air than in the 70s or 80s. I basically started listening to shortwave. I was 13 years old, 12 years old, back in 82, 81, 82. Back in 1981, 82, I mean, the bands were full of signals, and there was every country almost had a shortwave service. They wanted to broadcast to the world. Also, the fact that there was the Cold War made a lot of broadcasts from, you know, the Eastern Bloc that all wanted to give their Soviet-type communist rhetoric to the world. So today, the first thing you'll notice if you tune the bands is that it's very quiet as compared to the 80s or 70s. But there's still a lot of stuff to hear, and you know, shortwave is not what it was, but it's not dead, and I'm not part of those people that say it's dead. I don't agree with people that say shortwave is dead. I think it that you know, there's still a lot to listen to. The biggest problem I would see that you would have probably in 2014 compared to 1975, for example, or 1980, is the noise level around you. Back in the 70s, there aren't a lot of electronic stuff in our homes, and most of the electronic stuff we had didn't really generate a lot of noise. Today, everything generates noise. Computers make noise. Everything makes noise. You know, I've got 3 computers running here: the camera, and now I'm counting, you know, the TV, the VCR, the DVD player, the Apple TV, all that you want. And you know what? I'm surprised that I still can listen to shortwave thanks to my outdoor wire. But if I'd like to listen to shortwave with a portable inside the home, it would be kind of difficult. There's my kitchen where noise level is lower. You know, I'd be able to listen, for example, to Romania and China and Spain with a portable receiver like this one in my kitchen, because it's the spot in my home where there's the least noise. So that would be, you know, possible. As for a $100 receiver, what I would recommend, it's a little hard. I would recommend probably either something like this, the Degen D1103, which is a great performer, has single sideband, so if you want to try for amateur radio signals and stuff like that, that's a good. The Texan PL660 seems to be quite a good receiver. These are mostly available on the internet, so you'll probably have to buy through eBay or an online store that sells some of those receivers. These would be two good choices: Texan PL660 or this Degen D1103. if single sideband is not something you want to have, I mean, I love the Texan PL450. The Texan PL450 is about $50, and it's a hell of a performer. It has such great audio quality. For a non-SSB receiver, Texan PL450 is one of the best out there. But you know, for a little bit more, you'll have the DGD 1103 or PL660 from Texan that are good receivers. So hope it answers your question, my friend. Yeah, Dennis. Yeah, welcome to the hangout, by the way. Brother Stare, yeah, Brother Stare is everywhere. I mean, you can't escape Brother Stare on the shortwave bands. And I actually like the, I think it's Glenn Hauser that I hear calling Brother Stare Brother Scare. Kind of agree, you know. It's not complicated. If you listen to that guy, you just understand one thing, is that we're all going to hell, and that's it. Yeah, Brother Stare is everywhere. That is true. Incredible. Would Windows 8.1 be able to run SDR programs meant for Win 7? My SDR is running on Windows 8.1. My laptop, the one that I'm using with the camera here for Google Hangout, is a Windows 8.1 machine. And it works with the SDR, no problem. SDR Sharp works very well in Windows 8.1. You have to follow the procedure of installing the driver correctly, though. But if you do so, works really well in Windows 8.1. I actually use only my Windows 8.1 machine for that, because it is a fast machine also. But yep. But you know, get a Windows 8.1 version, because Windows 7 programs are not necessarily compatible with Windows 8. So you got to be careful. So it's nice to have all of your comments. Keep them coming. Paul says, know what you mean about RF noise. Took a walk into the countryside this evening with my Texan PL360 and got twice as many stations as indoors, even with long wire. Yeah, look, I went to my little, I have this little spot here in town. It's called Perry Island, and it's a little piece of island that extends from the island of Montreal, and it takes about 45 minutes bike ride. And I love going there because it's really quiet. You just sit down and, you know, hang yourself a little wire in the tree. And I'm just so amazed at the signals that I hear. It's just incredible. It's like not even, you know, I have the impression of not being in the same world. I go there and I get all these stations. I come back here and crap, there's nothing of that that's even audible, even on my icon here. And I'm amazed at that. And I'm thinking, whoa. And a lot of it has to do with RF noise. And that is true. RF noise is killing our hobby. Much more than stations leaving. And you know what? Stations are probably leaving because people aren't writing, because they're not listening in North America, because there's just too much noise. You know, if you just turn on your radio and you hear just noise, you know, I sometimes turn on the radio, and I will say, honestly, there are evenings I'll turn on the radio, tune a little bit, and have so much noise that I'm just going to, like, switch it off and say, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to go watch a movie. And that's unfortunate. That's the big problem right now. Noise is just so it's just so, you know, bad, and that's unfortunate, and it's killing the hobby. Mr. Hutchison, I think shortwave will always run as it's one of the only medium that can be censored by other nations. We just invested in an ICOM R8500 and love it. Yeah, the 8500 is a great radio. I love mine, and I'm happy to have purchased this receiver. You know what? One of the greatest moments we had recently where I understood that shortwave is a great resource. When Syria when the little war inside Syria started, and the Syrian government shut down all internet access. You know what? The only news that would go into that country was from shortwave. And I think, I believe that even BBC added some transmitter time to some airtime broadcast to Syria. You know what? That's the strength of shortwave. You cannot shut down shortwave. If a broadcast says something that a government doesn't like, you'll still hear it. Yes, you can, invest money. Look at China. China has Fire Drake as a CNR1, strategically positioned on real broadcasts because they don't want those broadcasts to go in China and people to hear these broadcasts. But even that, doesn't work everywhere all the time. Propagation changes, and a day or another, someone hears something. In the 80s, I remember in the 80s, and I never forgot that, HCJB, there's a program called Musical Mailbag, and the USSR back then, spent millions of dollars, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, to jam the airwaves and prevent all of these shortwave stations from the West to be received well in Russia, in the USSR. And I mean, jamming was everywhere in the band. I remember very well, jamming was everywhere. And you know what? HCJB one day read a letter from a Russian citizen. And I always remembered and thought to myself, you know what? Even if you jam, and especially in Russia with the size of the country, you cannot block everything all the time. There's always something that goes through it. And shortwave is so strong for that. I think it's great for that reason. I think shortwave personally, I think shortwave is going to be there, even when I'm old and retired. I'm 45 years old right now, so I'm not, not very old. And I think that when I'm 70 or 75, I'm still going to have some shortwave broadcasts to listen to. I don't think everything's going to disappear. And you know what? It needs only one little change in the world for suddenly someone wants to start to broadcast again. An example of that is the way Russia is actually acting right now in the world, and with Ukraine. That makes me think that shortwave is going to be there. And all these countries that have problems and will need some kind of broadcast. I think the BBC will still be there on shortwave in 20 years. It won't be shut down. It will be probably very limited and directed only at certain areas with programming, but it's still going to be there. I believe that. The smaller broadcasters are leaving, like Spain that's leaving. It's unfortunate, but these are smaller broadcasters that typically have no money. And you know what? Everywhere, even here in Canada, we're constantly talking about government not having money. And every country in the world is strapped for cash now. But I don't think that, what shortwave broadcasting costs per person compared to a lot of other stuff that the government spends money on. It's just so little. It's not that's going to make a difference, So, hey, my friend from Barcelona, David, sending me many pictures, including one of me at the hangout, showing me a few of his radios. It's really cool, Radio Shack. Really nice. Thank you so much for those pictures. You know what? I love to see your shacks. If you guys want to send me a picture by email of your shack, that would be so cool. I love to watch other people's shack. When I look at, I listen to AM radio broadcasts, and you go on qrz.com to get the call letters of these amateur stations, and a lot of them have their shack, a picture of their shack. I just love watching how people set up their radios. It's just so much fun. Enough talk for a little bit. I will actually tune the bands. I think it's going to be a nice idea to tune the bands. We are at 65 spectators. We lost a few, which is a little normal. We're almost at 2 hours in hangout here, so it's a long hangout. It's cool, and I'm enjoying myself. So we'll continue again for a little while. I will tune. I'm going to try that. Let's tune the 25-meter band, starting at 11,500, upwards up to about 12 megahertz, a little bit past 12 megahertz. Maybe we can compare signals together also. And see. Just before I start, I'm going to check a little of the comments here. For or against DRM, Paul? Aha. I'm for the fact that it's nice to have new ways of communicating. So DRM is, I'm not negative about DRM. I'm not saying that DRM doesn't have its place on shortwave. It actually does have its space on shortwave. Why I don't like DRM? I think it's something that was pushed through by lobbyists that were able to convince stations that it would radically change shortwave forever. And it's not the case. There's no shortwave radio. DRM would be good if it's very solid and you could buy like a $75 radio that would decode DRM. That I think would be okay. But the fact that there's a lack of radio, I think DRM is, personally, and this is my opinion, DRM is doomed to disappear. No radios to receive it. You need tech equipment, computers. That's not the idea of shortwave radio. Shortwave radio is not a hobby that requires that you have expensive equipment to decode something. So I think DRM's dead. But that said, it is sad because I think DRM is an interesting aspect of radio, and I've seen DRM demonstrations, and it's really cool. It's nice to see. But unless you have a really strong signal with almost no noise, it never decodes well, never works really well. One aspect of DRM that I find interesting, in Europe, a lot of countries decided to keep the 25 megahertz band for local DRM broadcasts. I think that's a great idea, though. Having DRM as a local broadcast, not on shortwave. I think that's cool. DRM can be used, you know, instead of having AM or FM modes, why not have new radios and in a city would have DRM broadcasts? That would be really nice. That would be a good idea. The fact that DRM brings not only audio but all sorts of you know, details, that's good. But on shortwave, I think it's doomed. And like I said, what I don't like about DRM, because I probably sounded like the guy that doesn't like DRM. It's not that I don't like DRM. I don't like the idea that they shoved a DRM signal that's very wide in the middle of broadcast bands where it does interfere with regular broadcasts. That's the bad idea of DRM. So that's pretty much what I think. It's my opinion, but that's what I think. Joe says, fortunate to have a summer place in northern Wisconsin where the RFI is much lower. I do my serious shortwave there. I take the loop with me and hear just a tremendous number of stations that I cannot hear at my location, Chicago location. Yeah, I agree. You have to get a spot. You know, I do these little de-expeditions to Perry Island for that. I feel that you need that little spot where, you know, my de-expeditions to Perry Island for that, getting stations that I never hear because it's just so, you know, I have all these stations that that you hear there because of the low noise, and you have nothing else. You know, you don't have that noise level that annoys you. So. What's the frequency? Can you get it on megahertz? I have a running M400 portable radio. Basically, one little thing, because a few people ask me a question about kilohertz and megahertz, and it can be a little difficult to understand the conversion if you're not very, you know, math savvy. But it's quite easy. When you hear something, if I say there's something on the 11,500 or 11,500 kilohertz, well, 11,500 means it's 11.5 megahertz. You just have to take the dot and shift it 3 positions. So 11,500 is 11.5 megahertz, or 11,500 kilohertz. It's not too difficult to make the conversions. That's why the radios have a dot. A lot of them have a dot. The portables don't. Like this one does not. This one will say 11,500. But this one will say 11.500. So 11 megahertz. That's one thing. If I say 15,000, just type 15.00. If I say 17,700, 17.7 megahertz, and so on. Bullseye, I feel shortwave 100 times better. Yep. I know what you mean, and we're a disappearing breed of people that actually like shortwave as a Raptor. David says resensoring an excellent example with RFE-RL, Radio for Europe, with 1 megawatt out of the now sadly abandoned transmitter site in Playa del Paros, very near my QPH, because of positional and propagational advantage. Russians couldn't jam it. And no matter what the jamming power was used, that's of course something that is interesting about the positioning of jamming transmitters. Depending on where you put your transmitters, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. We have one here. Joe says, what's on 11.520 right now? 11.520. Actually, I'm going to start tuning, and we're going to answer the question when I get there. So we start tuning at 11,500. If you guys want, why not put your radios on 11.500 or 11,500 kilohertz and start tuning with me, and we're going to check what signals we are listening to. We are at 65 spectators, if anyone wants to know, which is quite cool. We reached a peak of 88 at some point a little earlier. It's normal that with the 2-hour hangout we lose people, we get other people, we get new people. It's nice to have all you guys watching. So I'm going to get my list here, and let's check what we can hear starting 11,500. So first station we go through is the one that I was asked from Joe. It says, what's on 11,520? This is WEWM from the United States, the Catholic station. They are broadcasting to apparently West Africa, which is kind of surprising because they are in the middle of the night now. So that's WEWM from the United States. This would be Brother Stare from the United States, or Brother Scare.
You're listening to the Overcomer radio broadcast.
There we go.
My name is Brother Stare.
This is from WRMI transmitter side, probably. This is probably All India Radio. All India Radio. Hey Dennis, it's nice to know that your new antenna setup and all of that is making you you have less noise. That's, you know, trying to find a way to install your shack and your antennas to have the minimum amount of noise is very important. And it's cool that you have less RFI. It's always fun when we have less interference. We hear more signals also. It's really, really cool. Joe, yeah, I think also that DRM and will go the way of the IBOC. That was annoying. I remember DXing US stations and getting that ash shh sound interfering with other stations. That was a bad idea. I don't know who thinks of these things, but they don't understand radio. So IBOC was a really, really bad idea, I think. Yeah, Dennis, no problem. But hey, send me those pictures. I want to see your shack. Here it's quite easy. You see my shack live. But why not send me those pictures? Would be cool to see your shack. So we're going to continue tuning the 25-meter band, 11620, that's India. This is China Radio International. Radio Havana, Cuba, coming quite well on 11670. Not really sure about this one. Could be Radio Free Asia from the United Arab Emirates translator. Radio Havana, Cuba, Spanish, 11760. They're there pretty much all day, 11760.
A continuación un ampliado servicio de noticias. Estos son sus titulares.
Exige asociación de nuestra capacidad en Cuba a Estados Unidos el fin del bloqueo.
Entregan periodistas cubanos premio de la dignidad a los 5 antiterroristas.
Presidente venezolano.
Yeah, Raptor David says that DXing location. His DXing location is the second QTH and the northeast Spanish countryside. Every summer I discover lots of new signals and known ones boom in. It says that his PL660 overloads badly with a few meters of wire, yet when signals are strong it overloads really, really fast. Radio Nacional de Amazonas, which is from Brazil. This is always a pretty good one here in North America. What I like about, I don't understand Portuguese, but what I like about this one is the music. Music's fun, you know. I want to have a little exotic evening of music. Put it on Brazil. It's always an interesting station. They fixed their transmitter. They had it splattered everywhere, by the way. It's quite. I believe that pretty much everybody hears 11780 quite well. Even in Europe, I've seen a lot of reports. People saying they hear Brazil quite well. This is another Brother Stare or whatever, Overcomer Ministry stuff. They're all over the band since WRMI bought the Okeechobee, Florida transmitter site. That's all you hear everywhere. It is almost annoying. Radio Havana, Cuba.
Maduro asistió a un espectáculo con sede en el Centro de Acción Social por la Música en Caracas, en la capital, donde intervinieron integrantes de este proyecto.
El primer mandatario venezolano recomendó
This is probably a Brazilian also, Radio Aparecida in Brazil. WEWN from the United States. Radio Romania, French. This would be one of my broadcasts. Since I speak French, I would listen to Radio Romania French most of my evenings.
that Prime Minister Lee will continue to create favorable conditions.
This would be one of my favorites at 0100. Voice of Vietnam. This is from Great Britain. Do you guys hear Voice of Vietnam? Yeah, Brothers Care coming on 11825. That's what Paul is saying. Yep. Brothers Care is everywhere these days. Imagine all the money he puts in the transmitters. Wow. It's incredible when you think about it. So many frequencies. Vietnam 12005. You guys want to try it? That's one of my favorites, by the way, in the evening.
The course was shortly offered by the Electricity of Vietnam and the International Nuclear Energy Development of Japan Company, aimed at providing Chinese practical hands-on experience in operation and maintenance of nuclear power plants. At the graduation ceremony on Friday, EVN Director General Li Tang stated that Chinese key employees who are capable of carrying out the project is a decisive task for the success of the first nuclear power plant in Vietnam. He said EVN has asked the plan to train 100 technicians in nuclear power operation. An official from Japanese Ministry of Economics, Trade and Industry, Tetsuko Fuji, pressed further Chinese support for Vietnam to contribute to the successful development of Vietnam's nuclear power sector.
Another one news. With little more than 2 months of deadline, Iran and subsequent powers on Friday launched a fresh effort of narrowing differences on what may be possession.
Joe, is HCJB long gone? I used to listen to them religiously in the 60s to 80s. Yeah, HCJB left the waves pretty much somewhere in the early 2000s. And they were one of my favorite broadcasters. Their intent, their basic intent was religious programming, and you know, that was always their basic intent. But you know what's nice about HCJB, at least, is that they add regular type programming. I remember Musical Mailbag was one of the programs I loved. Musical Mailbag. One that was amazing for the music, Música del Ecuador. That was great for the really exotic Ecuadorian music. It was incredible. DX Party Line. Probably the first DX program I've ever heard in my life. DX Party Line. All of these shows. HCJB, you know, became strapped for cash. They had a really, really big operation in Quito, Ecuador. And you know what? What probably helped HCJB get out the airwaves is that their transmitter site was on Mount Pifo. And what happened is they wanted to do a new airport in Quito. And unfortunately, the new airport would bring planes close to the transmitter site. So what happened is the government, the Ecuadorian government, said to HCJB, you got to take out the antennas. You can't leave them there. You cannot transmit from there. Planes are going to be going over right over the transmitter site. We cannot allow that. So you'll have to move the transmitter site. You know, all the money involved in moving a transmitter site to another spot, and probably the fact that the declining shortwave audience, all of that together probably made the decision to just leave the airwaves. 6, I don't know if they're still there. I don't hear it. But as close as about a month or two ago, I would hear 6050, which was only in local languages, Quechua and stuff like that, for South American listeners. That was practically the only HJB frequency left for North America. And even that, it disappeared suddenly. So now HCJB is gone, and it's unfortunate. I liked HCJB, and I'm not a religious guy, you know. I'm not a guy that's going to listen to religious programming on the radio, never. But at least with HCJB, they had some period of time with religious programs and a period of time with regular programs. You know, they had that 2-minute drop of have you been thinking about God today, you know, in the middle. But at least they had regular programmings. I miss HGB a lot because it was one of my favorites. And I remember, you know, my summer evenings when I was 13, 14 years old with my realistic DX100, listening to that old long frequency of 15155, where I would listen in the summer evenings to HCJB. The Saturday night HCJB programming was good with Música del Ecuador, DX49, and so on. It was really, really cool, and I do miss them. Unfortunately, they did do another. They're really much more into religious stuff now, and they did open up the HCJB Australia, that they call the Voice of the Great Southland, and it transmits towards Asia, and it really, really is now religious programming, and that's it. It's not of the same. It's not the same way that HCJB brought us to their station. And it was an old station, huh? Radio Australia, sorry, HCJB began transmitting something like in 1931 from Quito, Ecuador. They started on Christmas Day 1931 or something like that. So they are missed. I really, really enjoyed HCJB. Unfortunately, they are gone. So Joe saying that 12005 is loud and strong. Voice of Vietnam. Dennis saying Voice of Vietnam in Wisconsin, very strong. Cool. Nice to hear that everybody else is. They do have a great signal.
Being of these flesh purifies our souls, enable us to better value our good characteristics and promote our patriotism.
Remove the answered question so I don't get mixed up. Paul Andrews, I'm wondering what to step up from the Degen DE1103. I do a lot of trekking, camping, but I'm looking towards more of a home base or tabletop receiver. Any suggestions? I would definitely, personally, if I want to have a tabletop receiver, I'd definitely take a peek at the ICOM ICR75. Not too expensive, and basically a nice radio. I don't know how much you want to put in money-wise, but ICOM ICR75. I'm going to show you here this nice little communications receiver. Here it's from the this is from Universal Radio in the United States. So this is the ICOM 75. It is a great performer, and if you're looking for a nice little tabletop, what's nice is that it gives you a nice radio for not too much of money. It is still $679 here. It's $679.95 at Universal Radio. So you'd spend about $700, but you'd have pretty good radio, I think. Another one is that is interesting and that a lot of people seem to like is the Alimco. Just have to find I'm gonna find a receiver for you. Alinco DJ X, and I don't remember what's the receiver exactly. The Alinco radio. I'm trying to find what model it is. I'm going to go to Radio World where I bought my icon. That would be probably another nice receiver. It's just gonna won't be very long. Alinco mobile base. That's it. The Alinco DXR8T. That looks like a very nice receiver. Also, the only bad comment I hear about it is the fact that all the controls are a little jammed together. But that's the Alinco the Alinco. I'm gonna bring it back. Okay. So the DXR8T. That's pretty much what you have. And here's 530 in Radio World Canada. So that would be a $530 receiver. I'd look into one of those if you don't want to spend too much money. It's a 150 kilohertz to 30 megahertz SSB CW AM FM all mode desktop receiver. It has one drawback: it does not come with a power supply, so you have to think, you know, maybe $100 more to buy a 12-volt power supply to give it power. But reviews are quite good on this receiver. So these are two that I would probably check for receivers. Hope it answers your question, Paul. I'd take a peek also at receivers. You know what? I would definitely take a look also at old receivers. You know, used receivers, and that you'd pay a lot less, but they're still really good. You know, like an old Kenwood R5000, maybe an old Drake R8, or an old Icom, a used Icom. That could be something also to check for. Just make sure that you know it works well. That's very important. But these are the kind of things I would look into. But if you want to buy new, I think either the Alinco or the Icom ICR75, great receivers, great tabletop receivers, and they're not too expensive. It's not like, you know, this one that's $2,000. So take care, Mr. Raptor. It's time to have some sleep, and sad to hear that you're not hearing anything on 12,005 kilohertz. Thanks for being there, and gonna watch the rest of the hangout tomorrow. Take care. Have a nice night. I understand that in Europe it's quite late for you guys. We're at 70 spectators, so we're holding on here. Dennis, I miss WBCQ's Saturday programming from the early 2000s. It used to be such entertaining shows like Brother X and The Big Kaboom and You Are What You Think. I even remember a show called Pocket Calculator where they talked about old technology. Yeah, things change. Sometimes people that make programs don't feel like they want to do it anymore. But I do remember these shows, and I'd say WBCQ, you know what, is one of the only U.S. broadcasters, private broadcasters that I really listen to. I'd listen to WRMI 9955 more if the signal was better, especially because they rebroadcast Radio Prague and Radio Slovakia and stuff like that that I'd like to hear. One suggestion is I would really love WRMI. You know, they have all these transmitters now. It would be fun if they could relay more stations that maybe were off the air now. You know, like Radio Sweden, and relay a Radio Sweden program every day or something. But of course, one of the biggest problems for that is probably the fact that transmitter power is costs a lot of money. So it's kind of complicated for that, probably. They would be cool to have these. We're going to check email. I haven't checked email in a little bit. Okay, oh, Bullseye sending me pictures of his shack from what I see. Here it goes. Oh wow, it's nice to see the shack. Cool. Hey, nice shack. I see you're a gamer with that control for the what racing game do you play with that control? I used to have one. I used to like playing a lot of racing games. Nice little shack here from our Mr. Bullseye from Australia. Really nice. Thanks for the picture. Really cool. Don't forget, if you want to write, official shortwave radio at gmail.com. What else do we have on the email side? No problem, Paul. I'm happy for the suggestions. Hope if you ever buy one, let me know. I'd like to know what you bought and what you think. But I think these two are great receivers. There are other suggestions, but they're more expensive, and I'm not sure buying a $2,000 receiver today is necessarily worth it. You have to be a little maniac like I am, actually, to really, really have that. If I look at the email, what do we have in the email? Do we have an email? Okay, we have in the email, sorry for that little moment here because I'm a little lost. I opened, like, 30 windows and the time to close them all and understand what you are doing. Henry from Texas writing in, saying that he's enjoying the Hangout, first time that he's watching, and that he took note of the next Hangout, and that he's going to be there. He really is enjoying his time. He finds that it's really super interesting, and that it's pretty cool, and that he's tuning the bands, and doesn't hear a lot of what I hear, but a few stations, including Vietnam 12,005, heard China 9570, and he says that he's using a Texan PL600 with the telescopic whip on the radio. And thanks for the great show. Hey, thank you. There wouldn't be any great show without you being there. Thanks a lot for being here. We are at 67 spectators right now. We're 2 hours and 25 minutes into the Hangout. I like doing these Hangouts, and you know what? I just would blab and talk all evening about radio. I love radio so much for that. Sorry. If Sony can continue to make the ICF 7600 GR, why couldn't they make a final batch of the ICF 2010? They know they would sell out immediately. Yeah, the ICF 2010 is one of those cult radios that was so popular. And I saw one at a friend's house. I've never owned one personally because when it was sold back in the 80s, I didn't have the cash to buy a receiver like that. But yeah, you know what? Shortwave for these big companies like Sony is kind of something that doesn't make a lot of money. And I'd be curious to know how much they sell, you know, like that ICF 7600. How much do they sell of those every year? I would be really curious to see the numbers. You know, an ICF 2010 today would probably be more expensive. And I think a lot of people don't want to pay 200, 300, 400 bucks for a radio. That's one of the problems. It's like computers. And hey, Paul, 2:21 in the morning in the UK, still a bottle of left to drink. Hope you don't get too drunk watching me, you know. I like that beer, by the way. I've had a few of those, and it's a great beer, by the way. I like, you know, we have local breweries here, but I like a little more exotic beers, and it's something that I find interesting. I like going to the grocery store, and we have like this. At the grocery stores here, we have a, you know, big fridge full of all sorts of beers, and I like picking out one that I've never tried before, and you know, getting an idea of what it is like. Maybe the next hangout should have maybe a couple of beers, not too much, because I'll probably have slurred speech if I drink too much beer. But cool. And thanks for really enjoying the hangout. Hey, thanks for the great comment. It's nice to see that you're hanging with me, even though it's late in the morning there. Here in Montreal, by the way, local time is 9:30 p.m., so we are mid-evening. Let's try something here. I think it's on 9850. 45. Anyone hearing Radio Tirana? 9845 with that very beautiful interval signal, by the way. Radio Tirana. Racing Sim Online. Okay, I play with 2 CB radios and UHF CB radio, and a scanner in that pick as well. Cool. Thanks for the pick, my friend. It's really nice. And keep on playing. It's cool. I play a little more modern stuff. I'd say the last PC game that I played was Need for Speed. That was pretty much what I played. So this is Radio Tirana from Albania. If anyone wants to try it. My friend Anne that says that she's going to eat, and that thanks for the hangouts, really interesting. Cool, thank you. Thanks for the comment. Really nice to see that you people are there. It's always cool. Hello from Ohio. Hey, my friend. Hello, Mr. I8OWN8U, or something like that. From Ohio, it's nice to see you. Welcome to the Google Hangout. We're now 2 hours, 30 minutes into the Hangout, and it's quite cool. So Radio Tirana, with good modulation.
From 130 to 230.
9850 kilohertz, by the way. If you know, 9845, sorry. 9845 kilohertz, if you can't see the frequency display. 9845 kilohertz, Radio Tirana, Albania.
The government has started work on drafting national strategy 2014-2020, in which all sectors will be organized. Oyanara, Director of Strategic Planning Unit of Holiday Programs in the Council of Ministers, said that work has
I don't know if you guys hear Tirana. Yeah, Dennis. I did hear that apparently they are coming back, but you know what? It's kind of a weird thing. There's no official announcement of Russia, Voice of Russia. The problem is they've been updating the schedules. So from what we think, they would probably come back with the new schedule season in October. So that's interesting for that. And by the way, for anyone that doesn't know about the schedule season, we have 2 schedule seasons for shortwave. We are now in the we are now in the that's it, I'm getting lost here. Okay. We are in the A14 season of schedules. It's ending next week, I believe. We are going to get into the winter schedule. So, you know, and the next Google Hangout will be in the first day of that new schedules of station. Everything is going to be mixed up. Frequency is going to change. So it's going to be that little period where we have to adjust and find our stations once again. So Voice of Russia apparently might actually make a comeback. They've been updating their schedules on the HFCC lists, which seems to be saying that they're going to be back on air. If they are, why not? That's cool. Well, unfortunately, I don't think a lot of broadcasters will do that. But you know what? Russia, I think, might come back for one reason. Is now it's getting really complicated with Russia and Ukraine, and I think they want to have they understand that having a shortwave voice is actually important, more than they thought. So when they shut down everything, I think they didn't understand that it was such an important move to keep a voice. Even Voice of America, the cutbacks they made, I'm not sure that it's always a great idea. And you know what? They seem to scramble when something's happening. Like Voice of America started transmitting more towards Ukraine. But I think they're scrambling because they don't understand that they don't have the capacity to do it like they had before. So let's cross our fingers. I'd like to see Voice of Russia coming back on shortwave. Would be really, really nice. So Joe doesn't hear 9845, fortunately. What's the device with the blue display? Probably this on top. This is an internet receiver. It's a radio. It's a Sanjian radio where you listen to internet radio only. It's amazing. 16,000 different channels and has great sound. It's one of those really, really good sounding radios. For music, it's amazing. One thing that you can do, and I use it a lot to listen to different broadcasts. So, for example, here's just an example that I'll give. If I go to my favorites here, Here, my space. I can listen to podcasts. For example, if I miss the BBC NewsHour and come back from work and I want to hear what's happening, I have it programmed in here. No, okay, it's just going to restart. It had to crash while I'm doing the video. You know, when something goes wrong, it's always when you're trying to show how it works. It does crash a little bit from time to time. It doesn't crash often, but it does. It's basically a little computer, you know. But it's an internet radio, so I actually listen to. I use a lot for music. I like going through the different stations in the list and just listening to what's there. There's just so much choices. This, for example, is Radio Prague in French. I'm going to go to my podcasts. If I want to listen to BBC NewsHour, for example, I'll just click and I'll have the BBC NewsHour.
This is a download from the BBC.
It's like a computer, but made only for receiving internet radio.
You're listening to NewsHour recorded on the 20th of September at 20 hours GMT, and this is Owen Bennett-Jones. Coming up, we'll be...
And so on and so on. So it's really internet radio. When you listen to music, you have, you know, the song is playing, the artist, and everything. It's amazing, and there's just so much stuff to listen to on this. I actually like this, and you can go on the stations, for example, say that what you want. Example here, if I go on stations, I can go into stations, I can go into genre, or I can go into where in the world, Africa, America, Asia, and so on. So I can click, for example, Europe. I can say, okay, I'm going to go into, let's see, here, Bulgaria, and then it says 46 stations from Bulgaria, and I can click any one of those Bulgarian radio, and it's going to connect and give me that stream. Amazing little radio. It's a little expensive. There we go. So it's a little expensive. It's close to $300, but it's a fun little piece of internet radio. So when shortwave's bad, I can at least listen to some broadcasts there. And by the way, I do listen to old broadcasts like Radio Prague, Radio Slovakia, Radio Sweden. I can receive there. They've left shortwave, but at least I can listen to them on this receiver. So that's pretty much what it is. Yeah, well, you're probably in midday, my friend Bullseye, in Australia. So midday propagation isn't very, very fantastic. You know what? I use the online Global Tuners radio receivers, and I tune some of the Australian receivers. You guys seem to have a harder time receiving shortwave broadcasts than we are here in North America, actually. It really, really seems to be much, much more difficult there. There's not a lot of broadcasts actually transmitted directly to Australia. Probably that's a little bit part of the problem here. So, so Paul, I hope he answers your question about that little device with the blue display here, internet radio. Hey Paul, yeah, okay, yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, actually, that's something we don't talk about a lot. We talk about antennas. We rarely talk about the connectors and how everything should, you know, be put together. My antennas, one thing for sure is that the antennas that go into my radio, I solder the plugs. That's the best thing you can do a good solder to make the good connections. I don't use alligator clips for a receiver like this because every time you clip, you lose some signals. Also, you have to use the minimum amount of connectors. So if your connector doesn't fit into your radio, you'll use an adapter, and every time you use an adapter, you lose signal. So you try to, what I try to do is if the connector isn't right, I'll cut the cable and solder in the proper connector directly to make sure that I don't have too many connectors in each other that would lower the noise, the signal strength, because each connector has, you know, a little bit of resistance, and your signal always goes down a little bit. So that's yeah, making a video itself is a great idea, Paul. I'll keep that in note here. I think it would be a good video. Dennis saying 9845 coming in here, but it's a bit weak. Yeah, it's not as strong, but it's making it. You know, it's one of the best actually that I've seen in a long time. Let's check for pirates. I'm gonna go back to the pirates and see if any other pirates are on right now. Oh, very strong pirate, 6940. AM mode. No, it's not. It's actually USB. Very strong pirate, 6940. Why don't you guys try this? Paul, yep. Voice of Greece, 9420. Yep, coming in quite well. That frequency from Greece is always great. You know, I don't know what's the transmitter, where is it, the angle of the signal or what, but 9420 is excellent all the time. This is Greece. Anyone wants to try Greece? They have only Greek programming in the 80s, and part of the 90s they used to have English, which was always nice, but they left English language programs. So I'm going to go back to my pirate here. 6940 USB, very strong pirate. You guys try it. Really good pirate here. Pirate radio on megahertz, yeah, 6.9 megahertz. Like the pirate I have here is 6.940 megahertz, but you need upper sideband on your receiver to get it, or else it's going to sound like this. This one's a very good reception here. Hey, thanks for that comment. Hey, Wolverine Radio. That's one of those regular pirates I hear really often, and it's actually a very strong one. Wolverine Radio is one of the strongest pirates I've ever heard, and almost every time it's on air, it's very powerful. So, thanks, Bullseye, for the great comment. Yeah. Well, try one day to have a hangout where you'll probably be like here in the morning and you'll be in the evening there. So you'll have the upper hand and the good reception while we try to, you know, get something interesting in the bands. Wolverine Radio Pirate 6940, extremely strong. Then it says 6940 coming in strong and S9 plus 10. That's pretty cool. A good reception. It's very strong. Wolverine is usually one of those that goes all through the East Coast, even down in Florida. It's a very powerful pirate. We have an email from Roy, which is in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And he says that he's just stumbled upon the Hangout while going through the Hangout video lists on the Google page. I didn't know there was some kind of list. Okay. And he says that he finds it really interesting, and that he took out his old Panasonic receiver from the 80s and trying to tune in signals, but it's not very, very good right now. Asking you what am I using as a camera for the Hangout. The camera I'm using is a Logitech CX920 or something like that. It's an HD 1080p camera. It's about $100 for its class. It's a good camera, and that's what I'm using right now as a Hangout video camera. I like it. It's a cool camera. We are at 66 spectators, so hang in there. I'm going to continue for another about 10-15 minutes, and then we're going to start wrapping things down, I think. Don't want to do too much noise. Joe saying that 6940 booming also. Yep. Wolverine radio is an amazing pirate for that. Strength is incredible. While we're having that, I want to talk a little bit about publications. Somebody asked me what, if there's a book that I would recommend for anyone that does shortwave radio. And the only book that really I think is now useful today is the World Radio TV Handbook. This is an old edition of 2008, but they come out every year. And actually I'm going to buy the 2015 edition. That should come out either around Christmas or early 2015. It's a great resource. It has, receiver reviews. It has station looks at different shortwave stations. It has country-by-country listing of national, international, radio, TV, AM/FM lists. If you write to stations, what's cool is that they have the email address and the postal address of pretty much every station in the world. It's a nice book to have. Now you might notice that mine is 2008, so I don't buy it every year. I don't see the need to buy it every year. Now this one is quite old, so it really would be a great idea, I think. I wanted to buy the 2014 this year, and finally didn't do it. But I will buy the 2015 for sure. I think that's probably one of the good books that you can buy for shortwave radio, and one of the only book basically that's still left. Unfortunately, one of the best books for newbies, the Passport to World Bank Radio, stopped publishing back in 2009, which is unfortunate because it was a great resource for newcomers to the radio hobby. That pirate radio, how many watts do you think it could be? It's just so strong. I wouldn't be surprised he has at least 1,000 watts in the antenna, maybe more. He's visibly using a lot of power here. It's not just a good antenna. Yeah, Paul. Well, yeah, with the Passport to World Band Radio, it does review a bit of receivers, but you know what? It doesn't replace a Passport. Here, if I look, it has one. It has maybe. You know, it has reviews of a few receivers, mostly IN receivers actually here. It's not like the Passport. The Passport was so great for that. It had really extensive reviews of almost any receiver that you can buy on the market. That was great. That does not replace that. But is it the new Bible? Yeah, it's pretty much what I recommend because it is the only thing left. You know, the information you get in here is quite good, but I miss the Passport. Passport to World Band Radio was really something for that. It was really, really good. Hey, Mr. Sten. Welcome to the Google Hangout. But World Radio TV Handbook is probably the last book that you can buy now, and it is still interesting, but it, like I said, it's not as if you had a Passport. Thing is, on receiver reviews, you know, the internet is now such a great spot for that. You can have receiver reviews. You just, you know, Google any receiver and put review with it, and you'll have reviews, that's for sure. Really strong pirate Wolverine radio. I got a QSL from them a few years ago, and nice to see that they are on the air tonight at the same time of my Google Hangout, which is quite cool, actually. It's actually a great song. So I'll keep a little bit more of this the questions and the stuff for the next Hangout. So for I'm gonna wrap up a little bit now. We've had a 3-hour Hangout, which is quite good. I think it's very respectable. I would still go on, but you know, I think we can wrap up a little bit, and you know, keep more information for next Hangout. So for anyone out there that wants to know when the next Hangout is going to be, put this on your calendar. It is Sunday, September 28th, and it's going to be at 2100 hours UTC. So September 28th at 2100 hours UTC. That's equivalent to 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time here in North America. And it's going to be late evening. And hope to see you guys there. Paul asking you, what site do you use for updated frequencies? I've got two main places where I go for frequencies. One is eibi.com, de.vu. So if I go here, just gonna click on the website. This is a website that I go to. I don't know if you can see it well through the Hangout here. So this is one, and they have a list of stations, from by time and by frequency. So here, if you go down, you see that it's by time and frequency. So eibi.de.vu. And another website that I actually go to, and if you just Google AOK, they have a shortwave. You'll go to the website, which looks like this, which is geocities.jp/BINewsJP. This is the other website. This one has a very, very extensive list of stations by frequency. That's the one I use most of the time when I, go through my tunings and I ID the stations. But the EIBI list, which is very complete in every language possible, and updated at least, it's probably updated at least once a month, if not two to three times a month sometimes. So it's very nice and very accurate list of stations by time or by frequency. Is Klingerfish still about mostly utility, but was quite interesting? Yeah, Klingerfish does exist. It is a CD-ROM only book now. You cannot buy it paper. It comes on a CD-ROM. I actually have a copy here of the, I think it's the 2007 or 2008 Klingerfish. And I believe they still are on the air, so on the sale. Klingerfish utility. Utility guide. Yep. It is still there, and 2013 guide to utility radio stations is available. And you can buy it online and download it. So it is really a digital version only now, so you can put it in your computer or an iPad or a tablet. It does still exist. It says the 27th edition now. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. And so you can still buy it online on the website. Just Google it and you'll come to the web page with the guide to utility stations. Yes, well, I got a QSL from Wolverine. It's really cool. Yeah, eibi-space.de. I can try that. I always do eibi.de.eu, but space.de. Oh yeah, it does work, and that's easier to remember. eibi-space.de. Great. Thanks for the help, Paul. And that's where the best list is, anyway. Time for bed now, Paul. Yep, and I'm wrapping up, so you're not going to miss out a lot, and maybe you'll be here in the next Hangout. 2:55 here in the UK. I'll be able to make the next Hangout as it coincides with my shift work, but hope to catch the one after. Take care and see you soon. Take care, Paul. It was nice to see that you stood by all of that period of time, and see you at the next Hangout that you'll be able to share. And don't forget that you can watch the Hangout. Even if you missed the Hangout live, you can still watch it on the YouTube channel. So I'm going to wrap things up. Thanks, everyone, for being there for the 3 hours of the show. It was really nice to do this tonight. I'm going to do a little more radio. I think I'm going to continue listening to Wolverine a little bit. Thanks for all your great questions. It was really fun. I think great questions and great comments tonight. And thanks, everybody. I'm receiving tons and tons of messages saying that it's just so great, and thank you for being there and doing what you do. Well, thank you. Like I said, without you guys, I couldn't do it. You need an audience to do something, and you guys are there. It's really cool. So thanks a lot. 73s. And I remind you for the last time, next Google Hangout, Sunday, September 28th at 2100 hours UTC. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you soon. 73s.